I've always loved the look of hand-hewn beams. However, they get so pricey so fast. So I found an alternative with these 3-sided wood beam casings that you can create in your home for a fraction of the cost that will still bring the same warmth and textural element in your home. Keep watching to find out how you can create this for your home too. The gate arrived, so we're gonna start. The first thing that we're doing is we're taking off obviously the door, and then we are taking off the surrounding trim so that way we can put the wood up next to it. But it's starting, guys. Here comes our faux beam. Okay, so most of you would be starting with your drywall, so you would just start without having to remove anything. We had to obviously remove the door frame and the trim, but now that we have a starting point, what we're going to do is we're going to get our boards, and we are going to start in the middle. So you're going to start with the middles here. You're going to measure the distance from one edge to the other, and then you're going to do that for all surrounding sides, and that's where you're going to start. We've got the inside pieces in place. As you can see, we made sure that we went one edge to the other. Now it's time to put the outside pieces first, and you're going to want to do the side pieces and then you're going to do the top. But this is where a lot of people get confused. So you are only going to take your piece right here. You're only going to measure to where this bottom board hits, okay? You're not going to take it all the way up to here. You are only going to measure your piece from the bottom of this board down to the floor. And yes, I had to get a step stool. So that is what you're going to do for all of these side pieces, because the top piece is going to come and it's going to go along this side and it's going to go up like that. If you can kind of visualize here with me. So don't take it all the way up to here. I got this question and I totally forgot to explain it, so I apologize. But yes, you're just going to use a full piece of wood. You're not going to have to do any long cuts. You're literally only going to have to make sure that you measure from the top down to the bottom, and then just do your shortcuts on your miter saw. That is the general rule. However, in our instance, a full piece would not cover that, and we still wanted some gap way here, so we did do a long cut for these two sides so that when you were coming up our basement stairs, it didn't look like it was just like a wall. There was some space and opening around it. So we did have to do long cuts for these two sides, but for the front side and for the majority of our cases of the beams in our house, it has just been a full piece of wood. So then once you have both side pieces attached, then you can make the measurement for the length of your top piece, because you'll make it so that it matches up on both sides of these side pieces. So you can see we just went from one edge to the other, except for on this side of our basement coming up, we did the same thing that you can see, but we didn't use a full piece like we did on the other side. We cut it shorter so that it was the same size as this side over here, so that way there was a little bit more cohesion on this side. And this just proves that, one, we live here, and this is what happens when we are doing projects. Our house goes to the wayside on some things. And the second thing that it proves is that builders do not build things straight. So as much as we tried to make sure that it was flush on this side, if we made it was flush on this side, then there was a gaping hole on this side. And there still is a little bit of a hole right here, you can tell. But the great thing about this side is that you can put some wood filler in here, and the way you distress things, you're not even gonna know. But if we were to make it so that this side was flush, then it would make it so that this doesn't look like we tried to have the beam here and we were building the walls around it, if that makes sense. So with distressing and wood filling, you won't even be able to really tell that those seams are there, which is the magic of prep work. Our next steps are to distress this bad boy, and this is gonna be the fun part. So you're gonna use screwdrivers, multi-tools, you are going to use a hammer, So if you have any anger, this is a really good time to get that out with one of these projects. But right now it just looks like some boards slapped against the wall. But once we start distressing, you're really going to be able to see the difference. So this is what it looks like now, but in a few days, it's going to start to look like that. And that is what we want. Okay friends, I was up late last night. I got the beam wood filled, so all the cracks are now filled. I had Michael install the gate, did some of the baseboards on the stairs. I only got a little bit down there, but this side is completely the color of pale oak. So now my task at hand will be to hurry and sand all of this. Do you like how Michael took out the drywall right there? So I'm gonna have to patch that too.
That was like this.
Whatever. So I'll sand all of this and then I'll get everything vacuumed right before little man goes down, so that way while he's sleeping I can get started and get this stained, so that hopefully later tonight I can focus on the stairs and get the rest of that all done, so that way I can reveal this space to you. I was able to get the beam sanded and stained yesterday, and I was able to seal it. I did have a couple questions that I wanted to answer, so that way you guys were able to kind of follow along on that. A lot of you were asking, why did we distress after we put the beam up and not before? We've done our beams a couple different ways. We have always assembled the ones on my main floor and then distressed. In our playroom, we distressed and then hung. And I'm gonna kind of show you the difference between the two, so that way you guys can see it. So you can see the beam in my office, and you can see that it's obviously a couple pieces of wood, and the way we have distressed it makes it look like one. But like here in my playroom, you can see that we've done some circular cuts and they don't go all the way around. So to me, I just felt like it wasn't as realistic in that aspect, because cuts aren't lining up. Like this is a good example. Like this one just magically just stops right there. It just, to me, it felt more realistic to have it assembled and then distressed instead of distressed and then assembled. Now you can do some things like the screwdriver and the multi-tool and all of that, and then do a lot of the other ridges on the side, but I just prefer the look of the ones downstairs. The beam is complete and I couldn't love it more. To achieve this look, we removed the door and surrounding trim. We added whitewood boards around the framed opening and then distressed the wood with tools from around our home. We sanded the board smooth and then did a 3-step stain process to achieve this look, with a white, weathered, and Jacobin stain. What do you think of this transformation? So much better than a door, right? Follow along at 1776 Faux Farmhouse for more home decor, inspiration, and DIY projects. reveal, like, is so good. I love it. You guys have seen the beams in my house before. I just love that I was able to take you through the process just way more in depth this time. So it's been super fun. The first beam that we did was actually in 2020, and it was really during the pandemic. So after Michael was done working, we would work on said beam in our living room, like family room, dining room situation. So that was the first wood beam that we ever did in our home. As always, thanks for watching. I can't wait for you to recreate this project in your home. Make sure to follow along at 1776 Faux Farmhouse for all things home decor and DIY inspiration.